It is not surprising that Zeus, father and king of the Olympian gods, should be one of the most important deities for the Greeks. Zeus was an ancient god who had the most far-reaching sphere of influence. The name Zeus derives from the Indo-European word for day and sky. Ancient references to him can be traced back to the Mycenaean Linear B texts. These texts attest to sanctuaries and festival days created in his honor. But Zeus was not just a distant sky god. He ruled from Mount Olympus. He controlled thunder, lightning, rain, and storms. When clouds gathered, people believed Zeus was near. His weapon was the thunderbolt. Forged by the Cyclopes, it was said to shake the earth. With it, Zeus kept order among gods and humans alike. His rise to power was dramatic. Zeus was born in secret. His father, Cronus, feared being overthrown, so he swallowed his children at birth. Zeus escaped. His mother hid him on Crete. When he grew older, he forced Cronus to release his siblings. Together, they fought the Titans in a massive war. The gods won. Zeus became king. He divided the world with his brothers. Poseidon ruled the sea. Hades ruled the underworld. Zeus took the sky. Yet Zeus was far from perfect. Stories describe him as wise, but also quick to anger. He punished oath-breakers. He struck prideful kings. But he also chased romance, often changing shape to reach mortal lovers. These tales filled Greek myth with drama. Heroes were born from these unions. So were feuds that shook entire cities. Across Greece, people honored Zeus with temples, statues, and games. The Olympic Games were held in his name. Athletes competed to earn his favor. To the Greeks, Zeus was law, weather, justice, and fate. He stood above all others, watching, judging. Even today, his name still echoes through stories, art, and movies. The king of gods never truly left human memory. Hera, like her husband and brother Zeus, has ancient origins and is attested on 2 Mycenaean Linear B tablets. The queen of the Olympian gods was most closely associated with marriage, but she also presided over the full arc of female lives, from childhood, through marriage, and then into widowhood or separation. Hera was therefore a vital goddess for women in the Greek world. But Hera was far more than a calm symbol of family life. She ruled beside Zeus on Mount Olympus. She wore a crown, she carried a staff, and everyone knew her power. Hera guarded marriage vows with fierce pride. She rewarded loyalty, she punished betrayal, and that mattered because Zeus often broke those vows. This is where Hera's famous temper appears. In myth after myth, she went after Zeus's lovers and children, not with quiet anger, but with bold action. She sent storms, she caused delays, she pushed heroes into long struggles. One of her greatest targets was Hercules. From birth, she tried to stop him. She sent snakes to his cradle. Later, she drove him into madness, leading to tragedy. Yet Hera was not only cruel. She protected cities. She blessed queens. She watched over childbirth. In Argos and Samos, massive temples rose in her honor. People prayed to her for stable homes and healthy families. Her sacred animals told part of her story. The peacock stood for pride and beauty. The cow symbolized care and motherhood. Hera's tales show deep conflict. She stood for marriage, yet lived in a marriage full of pain. She was loyal, yet often unforgiving. To the Greeks, that made her real. Not perfect, not soft, but powerful. Even now, Hera remains one of myth's most complex figures. A queen who ruled with law and rage, love and revenge, order and fire. There is no evidence of the existence of the god Apollo from the Bronze Age. It is believed that he became more widely known as a deity from around 1000 BC onwards. Apollo had a very diverse sphere of influence, and therefore he became an important god to people in ancient Greece. His associations ranged from healing and prophecy to young men and the arts. But Apollo was far more than a peaceful god of music. He carried a silver bow. His arrows could bring sudden death or sudden cure. He ruled light and truth. He hated lies and punished those who challenged him. One of his greatest roles was prophecy. At Delphi, people traveled from across the Greek world. They came to hear his oracle speak through a priestess. Kings asked about wars. Families asked about fate. Apollo answered in riddles. His words were rarely clear and often dangerous to misunderstand. He also shaped the arts. Apollo played the lyre. Poets called on him before writing. Musicians honored him at contests and festivals. Young men looked to him as a model, strong, calm, controlled. Yet Apollo's stories hold dark turns. He chased love often, but many lovers fled him. Some were changed into trees or flowers to escape. He killed the serpent Python to claim Delphi. He struck down Niobes's children after she mocked his mother. Justice came fast and hard. Across Greece, temples rose in his name. Statues showed him smooth and perfect, almost human, almost divine. To the Greeks, Apollo stood for balance, life and death, music and war, healing and plague. Even now, his image fills books, movies, and games. The god of light still casts long shadows. Artemis was the twin sister of Apollo and the daughter of Leto. Many scholars believe that she originated from an animal goddess of the Minoan civilization. Her sphere of influence was varied, and she was a significant goddess for both men and women in ancient Greece, as well as hunting and wild animals. She was a goddess associated with transitions. For women, she presided over the transition from virginity to childbirth, and for men, that from boyhood to adulthood. But Artemis was no gentle forest spirit. She ran through the woods with bow in hand. Her arrows never missed. Wild deer followed her steps. She swore to remain free. No marriage, no husband. Zeus granted her wish. From that day on, she stood for independence and strength. She protected young girls. She watched over births, yet she could be ruthless when crossed. One famous tale shows her power. A hunter named Actaeon saw her bathing by mistake. Artemis turned him into a stag. His own dogs chased him down. Others paid a price too. When Queen Niobe mocked Artemis's mother, the goddess struck back with Apollo at her side. Her arrows fell fast. Still, people feared and honored her. Villages prayed to her before hunts. Mothers asked for safe births. Young men made offerings before coming of age. Her temple stood near forests and rivers, not in busy cities. She was tied to the moon, to silence, to wild places untouched by humans. Artemis showed two sides: protector, punisher, guide for the young, judge of pride. To the Greeks, she was the edge between safety and danger. Even now, her image lives on, in books, in films, in games. The huntress still runs through human stories. The goddess Demeter was most closely associated with corn and fertility. She therefore played a fundamental role in the main economy of ancient Greece agriculture. Many of her festivals were held at key points in the farming year, such as the sowing and harvesting of crops. But Demeter was more than a farm goddess. She was a mother, and her greatest story began with loss. Her daughter, Persephone, vanished one day. The earth shook. Flowers stopped growing. Demeter searched everywhere. She walked the land in disguise. She asked gods and humans for help. No one answered. As her grief grew, the fields dried up. Crops failed. People starved. The world was breaking. At last, the truth came out. Hades had taken Persephone to the underworld. Zeus stepped in to stop the disaster. A deal was made. Persephone would return to the surface, but she had eaten food below. That meant she could not stay forever. So the year was split. Part of it, she lived with Hades. Part of it, she stayed with Demeter. When Persephone came back, Demeter smiled. Plants rose again. Grain filled the fields. When she left, cold followed. The land went quiet. This story became the Greek reason for the seasons. Spring and summer meant reunion. Fall and winter meant loss. Across Greece, farmers prayed to Demeter before planting. They thanked her after harvest. Her greatest rites were secret. At Eleusis, people gathered for holy ceremonies. They hoped for blessing and for life after death. Demeter stood for food, order, and survival. Without her, people feared the earth would fail. Even today, her myth shapes how we talk about nature, growth, death, return. The cycle never ends. Dionysus was the most intangible of all the Greek gods. He was a god of contrasts, simultaneously young and old, masculine and effeminate, robust and phantom-like. His sphere of influence covered two sources of great pleasure for ancient Greeks: wine and theater. He therefore represented escapism and joy in equal measure. But Dionysus was not just about fun. He could bring freedom or chaos. Where his cult spread, music followed. Drums beat, torches burned, crowds danced through the night. People drank wine, they sang, they forgot rules. For some, that felt holy. For others, it felt dangerous. Dionysus was born in a strange way. His mother, Semele, died before he was born. Zeus saved the child and carried him to term himself. That made Dionysus part mortal, part divine. He traveled across the world teaching people how to grow grapes, how to make wine, how to let go. But kings often fought him. One ruler, Pentheus, refused to honor him. Dionysus struck back. Pentheus was driven mad. He walked into the hills and never came home. Stories like this warned people. Joy without limits can turn dark. Dionysus also shaped Greek theater. Festivals in his name filled cities with plays, tragedy, comedy. Actors were masks. Crowds packed the stands. To the Greeks, this was sacred time, a break from daily life. Dionysus stood for release, from pain, from order, from fear, but always with a price. Even today, he remains one of myth's strangest figures, the god of wine and stage, laughter and madness, light and shadow.